heaven's door. Hey, 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 hey. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Hey, everybody. In this episode of Movies Merica, we will be knocking on heaven's door, kind of, sort of, as I review for you Knock at the Cabin.
In a world where the number of movies available is great, but many are so bad, you'll learn a new definition of hate. One man sifts and reviews through the movie sludge. One man will be the movie cop, jury, and judge. He goes by many names, but you know him by Movies Merica.
Okay, everybody. Hey, welcome into this episode of Movies Merica, all right? I'm glad you're here. You know what? My day, wasn't so great. Now it's even better. Now it's better, I should say, now that I know that you are here joining me for this Knock at the Cabin episode of Movies Merica, all right? So, hey, let's get right into just what Knock at the Cabin is all about, right? You may be coming in here completely blind to what this movie is. Well, have I got the cure for that for you? All right. So Knock at the Cabin is classified as a horror movie, and it has to do with this couple, Andrew and Eric, and their adopted daughter, Gwen. They are up at a cabin out in the woods, okay? And they are just chilling, relaxing, and whatnot. And then all of a sudden, here comes along big old Dave Bautista and his merry band of apocalyptos or something, as I would call them, where they basically try to break in to this cabin to interrupt Eric and Andrew's and Gwen's fun family vacation, and they're trying to break in because and as the trailer shows you and tells you, they need to make this family, they need to make them make a terrible choice, okay? And that is they have to decide which member of this family has to die, okay? And then the other family members have to kill them, or one of the other family members have to kill them. Why does all this madness, all this, why does this have to happen? I mean, this is nuts, right? This is nuts. Well, according to Dave Bautista and his pals, this has to be done because it will prevent the apocalypse if this family does this, okay? And so that's the jumping off point. You can imagine with the premise like that, there's all the drama, all the shocking moments, the turbulence that ensues from that. And it's directed by M. Night Shyamalan, who this kind of movie is his bread and butter. Okay, it's right up his alley, and so yeah, that's essentially what that's what we're working with here in this episode here. All right. Now let me say from the jump here that this is the best acting I've ever seen from Dave Bautista. His character is named Leonard. And this character is like the paradox of like a big burly guy with like a mild-mannered, gentle temperament. It's quite the opposite of his big bad role in Spectre, when he was like the heavy, right, the big henchman going up against Daniel Craig in the Bond film Spectre. And it's completely different from Drax. Now, in this movie, as you can tell from the trailer, he is the leader of this not-so-merry band of apocalyptos. And now he's not just a leader, he is what you hear termed a servant leader, where he does his part, in their way. He's the first boots on the ground, and he's the last boots to leave the ground, right? He's part of the fray. He's right in there doing the work. And part of Dave Bautista's great performance is he convinces you that he really believes in what he has to do here. His performance is so vulnerable and nuanced and very calculated, and it shows. It's a great example of how not all bad guys are completely bad and not all good guys are completely good. Okay, it's it's got it's like Shrek, right? Shrek, he's got layers. Okay, just like you saw in Shrek right there. And you know what? Just on a complete side note, on the Dave Bautista front, I cannot wait to see Dune Part 2 with him in it. At least to me, I thought it was interesting in this movie that there was no mention of the Bible or the book of Revelations for that matter, okay? We're dealing with signs of the apocalypse, okay? That doesn't come from a Dr. Seuss book, okay? That comes from the Bible, and you would be hard-pressed to find any mention of the Bible in here. I think that it would have made it scarier, okay? Sort of like in the movie The Seventh Sign, way back in the 80s, came out in 1988 to be specific, with Demi Moore. And that movie, you just basically like list for list or item on a list there, it just categorically went through all the signs of the apocalypse, the opening of all the seals, ultimately the seventh seal, I think, being the last one, right? And so to me, any plot that involves something divine and out of human control just makes things more unnerving and just kind of terrifying there. Now, I think the reason that the Bible and the Book of Revelation didn't get mentioned is M. Night Shyamalan's, his beliefs behind a particular statement. So in the statement, I'll read it here, is a statement to the New York Times that he did while he was doing press for the movie Glass. And his statement is this: "Yeah, I'm not religious at all. I have my issues with the specificity of organized religion and the tribalism that conjures." So he's kind of overgeneralizing about religion. Okay, he's basing his opinion on the bad parts of religion and completely ignoring the good parts. Okay, and that's driving his belief. I guess he thinks like religion is the only thing that has a bad side to it. So that would most definitely be the reason why he takes careful measure to make sure there's no mention of the Bible or the Book of Revelation, that these signs, this apocalypse, gets the most mention in the Bible. Friends, Romans, countrymen, or should I say, in this day and age, country persons. I don't offend anybody. Hey, thank you for watching or listening to this episode. And I would just like to take this opportunity to kindly and politely and in kind of a grovelly way ask you to punch that like button down there. Just punch it, man. Just wind back and punch that like button, all right? And then while you're in the punching mood, feel free to punch that subscribe button down there as well. And if you see a cool little bell icon, you know what? We're punching stuff. Let's just keep punching. Punch that bell icon down there too. What that's going to do is it's going to make sure that you get episodes, like notification of new Movies Merica episodes, delivered hot, piping, and fresh to you. All right. So, and then also, we're on YouTube or Rumble. Feel free to get down there in the comments section, and let me know what was the best part of Knock at the Cabin, or hey, did I convince you to go see Knock at the Cabin? What was your favorite? Woo, boy, sorry about that little beer burp going on. Like I always say, hazards of the trade. That was uncool. Anyway, so yes, I humbly implore you to go ahead and do a little button punching down there, the like, subscribe, and that bell, and then comment, man, because I'd love to hear from you. All right, let's press on with Knock at the Cabin. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't point out some of the absurdities in this movie. Okay, so I would just like to ask M. Night Shyamalan, who in their right mind would be standing on an ocean beach while this big 50-plus foot tsunami wave is coming right at them and just standing there relatively still, filming the entire thing on their cell phone instead of running their butt off the opposite way, okay? They're like standing there like Spielberg, just like, let's make sure we get some good lighting here, right before the tsunami wave gobbles me up here. Okay, I mean, I know that in the movie they kind of have to show like this big tsunami wave. Like, why didn't they do like a helicopter shot or something like that? It just makes it completely unrealistic that somebody at the beach would just like, you know what? I'm just gonna make sure I get this, on video. And you know what? To be fair to the movie, maybe this is a stretch. Maybe maybe their explanation to me would be like, well, this person knows he's not getting away, or she's not getting away from the wave anyway, so might as well stick that camera like on Facebook Live or something like that and just film it for the masses to get a historical record of it, because they know they're not outrunning a 50-plus foot high tsunami wave, right? So maybe that's it. I don't know. Also, there's a character. I'm going to start calling them. This is called Knock at the Cabin, right? I'm going to start calling Dave Bautista's group the Knockers. Okay, so they're knocking, So one of the knockers in his group is a post-op nurse, and she says that she spent her life savings driving from California to Pennsylvania, where this movie takes place. Since when would it take someone's life savings to drive from California to Pennsylvania, especially for a post-op nurse who makes some decent bank, okay? So I'm like, man, it didn't make any sense. I had to do a little double take on that. So, and then also there's another one of the knockers that has some past connection with the couple, Eric and Andrew, in this. And it doesn't ever get paid off in this movie. Okay, they don't like. Why did there need to be a connection? In the past between that. I don't know. Just a few absurdities that I mentioned that I wanted to inform you of before you go check out this movie. Uh-oh. Van is about to get philosophical here on this next one, okay? And what I mean by that is, this movie makes you come face to face with the human tendency in a situation like what we see in this movie to to outright not believe what you see with your own two eyes, okay? One character even says that he has to believe that this is not happening. He has to, like he's manufacturing the belief in here. And one of the things about this movie, and kind of where I'm going with that, particularly like, what this one character says with that, is he's displaying some cognitive dissonance in this, where you see a lot of cognitive dissonance in this world here today, where it's regarding someone's worldview, particularly like with their political beliefs. Somebody could be like, okay, I need to believe something, even though my own eyes and ears tell me that the facts are on the side of my opposition. Okay, I have to stand firm. I have to dig my heels in and believe what I believe, or not even believe it, but just say I believe what I believe, even though all the evidence, or most of the evidence, is on the side of the opposition who believes something completely different. There's that cognitive dissonance. And so that's where the couple in this, they just don't want to believe it's happening, because, who would want to believe this is happening? This terrible choice that they have to make, and the fact that, the apocalypse is upon the world. Yeah, I'd probably be, showing a whole lot of cognitive dissonance, or, I can't say I wouldn't. I'm not above that. As far as some of the performances of Jonathan Groff as Eric and then Ben Aldridge as Andrew, to be perfectly honest, were lukewarm and bland, okay? Groff was slightly better, and he showed more range than Aldridge. Ben Aldridge just seems angry all the time. That's his speed in this movie. He doesn't do really anything more than that. Now, positive is that they do sing "Boogie Shoes" from Casey and the Sunshine Band in this movie pretty well when they're in the car and they're just doing some singing with their daughter. They do that very well. And you know what they did convince me that their characters do love and adore their adopted daughter, Wen. And speaking of Wen, the actress Kristen Cui, if I'm saying that right, C-U-I is how you pronounce her last name. I'm sure I'm butchering that last name, but she's very adorable, in playing Wen. And of course, her being a little girl, you definitely don't want to see anything bad happen to her character. And to her credit, she doesn't play it too precociously or overly cute, okay? She plays it in a way where you're like, oh, man, this is, you don't want anything bad to happen to her, and it just raises the stakes, because you care about her. And Dave Bautista's character, you see at the beginning of this movie, he cares about her too. I mean, he's not a monster, okay? And just the Wen and her charming personality as a little girl, makes it very easy. Okay, well, hey, here we are at one of my personal favorite sections of each Movies Merica episode, okay? This is the part where movie reviews meet ice cold brews. Yes, the tagline for this show does not lie, all right? And so, you know what? Without further ado, let's get right into this episode's beer, okay? So today I'm making it out like a boondock saint, and I am going with Boulevard Irish. Let me grab this bad boy here. Got Boulevard Irish. It's an Irish ale, and it's made by Boulevard out of Kansas City. Kansas City, here I come. Yes, so Fats Domino there for your, I was going to say listening pleasure, but yeah, you probably didn't get a pleasurable experience from that. But, in order to get me to stop singing, why don't I start drinking? That's good, but it's probably going to come with some beer burps or some involuntary beer burps as we go throughout the episode, But, it's a small price to pay when you're mixing movie reviews with ice cold brews. And you know what? That is ice cold, just the way I like it. Okay. But yeah, check out Boulevard Irish. It's a big brand. It's not some niche little brand, It's not a little mom and pop craft brewery. It's Boulevard, okay? And so I'm sure you'll be able to find Boulevard Irish. And again, as always mentioned, I'm not getting any money from any of these breweries, They just put out product that I like. All right? Okay, on with the show. This movie is based on the 2018 book, The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul G. Tremblay. And this movie makes a point to stay away from the most horrific part of that book. Okay, that book doesn't hold back at all, okay? And I guess the reason that they did that, or at least one of the reasons that I can imagine that they did that, is because they didn't want the movie's ticket sales to drop by 100% in the second weekend of this movie, because I'm sure after that first weekend, you're going to get plenty of people that saw the movie going, oh my God, can you believe what they did in that movie? No, I can't believe it either. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm going to tell everybody I know, don't go see Knock at the Cabin. Like, they were trying to avoid that, which is, yeah, a smart move. Okay. I think with that part of the book, I wouldn't see it as a brave move on M. Night Shyamalan's part to put that in there. I would just call it outright stupid. Okay, in the book it's fine, but in this movie where you're trying to make some money at the theater, yeah, it's good that they didn't keep it in there. And also the book has a much more ambiguous ending than the movie does. The ending is pretty cut and dry, and you know where it's cut off, and the movie ending is very definitive. Definitely not the first movie to deviate from the book, okay? Prime example is The Shining, Stanley Kubrick, how he deviated from Stephen King's book, okay? In the book, the Overlook Hotel blows up, okay? So Jack Torrance goes into, well, his name is John in the book, but in the movie it's Jack Torrance. He goes in the boiler room, blows up the Overlook Hotel along with himself, of course. And that doesn't happen in the movie. Also, in the book, there are no creepy twins, there's no, hello, Danny, come play with us, Danny. There's none of that in the book, to its detriment, okay? And there's no bloody tidal wave coming out of the elevators like in Stanley Kubrick's movie. So, again, Knock at the Cabin is not exactly the first movie to deviate big time from the book. And in this case, I think it did itself a big, big favor. Knock at the Cabin actually is only the second R-rated movie for M. Night Shyamalan. The first one was the unintentionally hilarious The Happening with breathy Mark Wahlberg, okay? That one was hilarious, particularly his, what? No! Scene that he had in there at the end, but the whole time in that movie, in The Happening, it's just, he's extra. What? What's going on? What? We better get out of here. What are you talking about? Oh. I mean, and to this day, Mark Wahlberg says he regrets taking that role. I think maybe he could have done something with it, but he should have just done a better job, and they should have wrote a better movie for him, But I don't know. Why does he regret doing that movie? I don't know. Oh. But back to the R rating of Knock at the Cabin. So M. Night Shyamalan has said in an interview that initially all his movies get an R rating from the old MPAA. And what he typically has to do to get the R rating down to a PG-13 is he has to get rid of some sound effects, because he's been told by the MPAA that, okay, well, it would be a PG-13 rating, but in this particular scene or scenes, it's just too intense. It's too intense. He says that he doesn't get R ratings because of gore or extreme violence or nudity or anything like that. It's just the intensity of the scene. And he jokes around with the MPA. He's like, hey, don't punish me for execution, okay? So what he does, like I said, and like he said, is he typically has to get rid of some certain sound effect or effects that make the intensity of the scene a little too high for a PG-13 movie. Case in point, with the movie The Village, there's a scene where I think it's one of the main characters is getting stabbed, okay? And instead of the camera showing the stabbing, it just pans away from the stabbing and pans away to the wall. And in the original cut, the sounds of the stabbing got worse and worse as the camera panned away further and further. And so the MPAs said, well, okay, you'll get a PG-13 rating if you just get rid of the stabbing sound effects, which he did. And then we have a PG-13 The Village movie. But yeah, Knock at the Cabin, yeah, it's his favorite. It's his second R-rated movie, and it's a stretch to make to give it an R rating. I mean, I think it has more F-bombs than it typically has, and there's some violence in there. But if you watch, any of the horror movies today, the violence is pretty tame. Look at you. You're still here. Yes. All credit to you, all right? You guys have stayed the course. You guys are still in the race. You didn't drop out like those other losers over there. You guys are the winners. You guys are champions. You're still here in this episode, all right? And for that, you know what? I'm going to ask you to do me one more thing if you would, because, hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button, hitting that bell button down there. For champs like you, that obviously have better stamina, that shouldn't be no thing for you guys to do. You guys are the best. You're the best. Okay, so if you would, like I said before, punch that like button on this episode, subscribe to this channel, hit that subscribe button down there, and hit that notification bell down there as well. And again, I'd love to hear from you in the comments section. That'd be fantastic. Absolutely. So, all right. But again, yep. Just wanted to ask you to do that because you know what, I want to hear from you, and I want to produce more episodes just for your viewing or listening pleasure. I think. I don't know if it's pleasure. The pleasure is in the eye of the beholder, right? So, but anyway, enough babbling. Let's get back to Knock at the Cabin. I really wish this movie could have had a bigger budget for the spectacle scenes, okay, the apocalypse spectacle scenes. That way they could do those scenes more justice, okay, show them the way that they really should. Show them show them to be more scary like they would be in real life, okay? There would be much more to them than what you see in this movie. Now, admittedly, that kind of budget that they would need to create the apocalyptic scenes that I'm picturing in my head, wow, I think we're talking like James Cameron Avatar ballpark kind of budget, okay? Because like what I picture in my mind as far as the apocalypse and all that is just nightmarish, okay? And there's so much stuff that's going on, so much terrible, horrific things going on. And it would, the spectacle, the visual, of it happening and whatnot. A CGI team is going to be driven nuts, with all the stuff that they're going to have to do in what I would think would be a full-bodied, robust apocalyptic scene, a breakdown as far as what I think it would look. I mean, we're talking about more airplanes, falling from the sky and fire raining down and locusts and just all kinds of madness, terrifying madness I would imagine. And I know I'm I'm painting a real rosy picture right now, I know. But this movie, if it would have had a bigger budget, I would like to think that M. Night Shyamalan would have done something like that. Now, he might still not have, because that would be quite a bit for what you typically see in an M. Night Shyamalan movie. His movies tend to be more understated, okay? Like he's like the opposite of a Michael Bay movie. Michael Bay is just boom, bam, bam, scratch, boom, 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 everything's exploding, yeah, boom, boom, boom. That's like Michael Bay, right? And M. Night Shyamalan's like, I'm just gonna tell a nice little subtle scary horror story, and most of the time I'm going to have a twist at the end, okay? And then there's Michael Bay. He just wants to explode everything and bam everywhere, blood and explosions. Like, so in order to have the kind of apocalyptic scene that I'm talking about, it might look a little bit out of place in an M. Night Shyamalan movie. Just to provide a heads up so that everyone knows what they're going into, like with The Happening, M. Night Shyamalan in this, he's in The Happening, he's got like an environmental messaging going on, like a subtle environmental messaging. He kind of sermonizes in that movie. And in doing so, what he's trying to do is he's subtly trying to change your opinion for a specific purpose. Now, he does that in Knock at the Cabin as well, but in this movie, he's doing that. He's doing that technique, in order to sway your opinion of gay marriage or homosexuality in general. He's trying to sway your opinion of that in a certain direction, but he's trying to do it kind of, he's trying to be slick with it, okay? And Leonard says that this gay couple, Eric and Andrew, must have been chosen because their love is so pure. And they were chosen by God, presumably, because what are we talking about here? We're talking about the apocalypse. So obviously God is involved somewhere. So again, he says that God chose them for this terrible choice because God thinks their love is so pure. What? I know. Pro-LGBTQ people won't give a rip. I get it. They just won't care. But God point blank says homosexuality is a sin according to multiple passages in the Bible, like it or not, okay? And Shyamalan is clearly playing fast and loose with what God would think of a homosexuality, even though there is scripture after scripture in the Bible that says that God thinks men laying with men, women laying with women, homosexuality in general is a sin, okay? And, point blank, the Bible tells you what God would think of Andrew and Eric's gay coupling, so to speak, for lack of a better way of putting it right there. But, just because God believes that homosexuality is a sin, again, let me make it clear. It doesn't mean that the LGBTQ community, anybody in it, should be persecuted or harmed. I'm not saying that. That should not be done. Absolutely not. However, they and their enablers should not be falsifying what God would think about homosexuality, and specifically in this movie, Andrew and Eric's homosexuality. Just shouldn't do it. Like, you know what? Just stop. You're not convincing anybody. I mean, you're the only people that are going to believe it are, well, I was going to say the people that already believe it, but there are some weak-minded people that might watch this movie like, oh, I'm totally changed. All right. I was anti-LGBTQ, but now I'm pro-LGBTQ. I can't say that that possibility isn't out there. There are some weak-minded people out there that don't know how to stand for something. So, but that's why this kind of stuff in movies where the LGBTQ community or their enablers try to sneak stuff in, they think they're being slick. So just watch out for that in this movie. I'm sure you'll watch the movie. You don't need me to tell you this, but just in case, I wanted to give you guys a heads up, okay? All right, well, so I think I've covered Knock at the Cabin. It is time to wrap this episode up here. And again, I haven't mentioned this yet, but if you happen to just be listening to this Movies Merica episode, if you're on Apple Podcasts, feel free to zip on down to the very bottom of all the episodes and click those funky 5 stars. Yeah, give me a 5-star rating if you want to. If you don't feel like it, not putting any pressure on you. We here at Movies Merica Incorporated, we believe in total honesty, all right? So, absolutely. So, if you, my beloved customer, aren't satisfied, don't give me a 5-star rating. But if you are, please give me a 5-star rating. And also, there's a write a review button down there if you want to write a review of said episode. That would be fantastic, all right? Hey, so with that, let's wrap it up. And as I always say, get out there, people. Those movies aren't going to watch themselves. See ya.
Hey guys, don't leave the video quite yet. Okay, I've got a popo. They're coming after me, and I don't have much time to tell you, but you need to like and subscribe this video right here, down below. It's right down there. It's just waiting. It's waiting for you down there, okay? And make sure you watch these videos over here too. You'll be doing me a big favor. I'm gonna be in handcuffs pretty soon. All right. Thanks for watching.